Hello, hello, hello. All right. What I'm going to do right now is I am going to give you a sample of a potential keynote. A topic is the art of persuasion, how learning how to ski helped me be a better coach. Now, you're not going to see the slides. I have some slides. I've experimented with the pecha kacha or whatever you say, it's the presentation style, which is all about having 20 slides and 20 seconds per slide. So I will do it without you seeing the slides, and then we'll see if it actually makes sense if you don't have anything in front of you. All right. So you know how often we try to persuade someone to do something and there's a lot of resistance? I'm not talking about teenagers doing chores, although mine are doing some right now. But besides the point, this is out of the scope for this presentation. We're talking about corporations. We're talking about friends, family. It's difficult. There's a lot of resistance. There's often, in your heart that there's a solution for whatever pain point you're trying to solve, but there is just so much resistance. There's just no way. People are pushing back, even though you know at your heart that this is the right thing to do. So in this presentation, you will learn how to persuade people to go from just no way, there's just no way I'm doing something, to maybe not a full buy-in, but at least willingness to experiment. Now I'm going to share a personal story how I learned how to ski. I met my husband when I was 18, and he had this vision that if we were to get married and if we were to have kids, then to have a skiing family, mom would have to ski. Before I go there, now I'm qualified to speak about this because not only I've been in IT for over 20 years, agile coach for a decade, digital transformation coach, I've also been a ski instructor for many, many years. I've influenced hundreds of people without them, reporting to me or really being on the hook to do what I ask them to do or what I tell them to do. I try to ask, not tell. We're going to talk a little bit about that at some point too, the difference. And so you have to use persuasion. See, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So my husband tried to teach me. And I said, just no way. I'm just not going to do it. Now, what was going through my mind when he wanted to teach me? So one of the reasons was it wasn't my idea. It wasn't my passion. It wasn't something I dreamed to learn how to do when I was a child and I just, had no means. It wasn't my thing. It was his passion and it was his idea. And although I was still pretty young, 18, but I wasn't 5, I wasn't 6, I wasn't the, young and restless. And so it was just not my thing. And also, obviously, there were many fears. What went through my mind? So in Russian, there's this expression, being like a cow on ice, meaning like very clumsy. Not really looking that sexy. And so, of course, I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of this, super hot dude that I proudly call now my husband. Just wasn't comfortable. Money. I had no money printing device back then. Still don't have it. I'm just kidding. But it was a concern. It's a very expensive sport. We were both students. We didn't really, have the money to invest, so that was my concern. But nevertheless, he persuaded me to go once, just because in general, I'm easygoing. It's just, it took him a while, but I gave it a shot, and it actually backfired. Because he didn't have much money either. He covered the rental, but he was teaching me himself. And so my expectation was, and his expectation was, that I'm just gonna, get on skis and he'll tell me what to do, and I'll be able to do that. But in fact, it didn't work out like that. I was black and blue. I was falling all the time. We went on a chairlift, so first time, not magic carpet, not, and so it just backfired because later on, when he tried again, I would say, listen, I gave it a shot. It just didn't work. Right? It's a good one. I tried. It didn't work. And so he brought me. So before that, so what was really the main problem? Like, what was the real reason that it didn't really quite work? At first was, number one, there was no empathy. So he couldn't see my world through his eyes because he was very athletic. It was very easy to him. So he couldn't understand, why is it that I couldn't push myself up from the snow? The whole feelings of me being afraid, to be embarrassed, I don't think he understood that. He did understand the financial problem, hence he did cover the rentals. But as far as communication, it wasn't just the empathy. So empathy, compassion, even that isn't enough when you try to persuade someone. You also have to have skills. You have to understand how you take something large and you break it into consumable, chunks of things that are not scary. That learning journey, you have to be able to break it down. Whether you're skiing, you can say, listen, we're not going to go anywhere in a chairlift before you're able to actually slow down and turn on this magic carpet little bunny hill. This is how you make people comfortable. That's how you communicate. And so, and with digital transformations and anything else as well, right? Something might look scary. People might have their own fears in their heads. Those could be the resistance. In the corporate world, the financial fear could be that, if you do something different, then you might be not as good at it. You might lose your job. Who knows, right? The difference between, skiing and corporate world is that with skiing, for the most part, when people come for the lessons, you can see the fear, and they're not often shy to communicate that fear. But in corporate world, it's hidden. You don't see it as clearly. It's tougher to get to even address it, right? Because if you don't know that fear is the cause, and it is often the cause, it's very tough to actually have that conversation and eliminate the fear by having the conversation. What would be that small minimum thing that you could try that might not be as scary? So what was the solution? How did my husband actually eventually persuade me not only to learn how to ski, but to love the sport to the point where I became a ski instructor and taught for 17 years? He brought me into the solution. He said, what can we do in order for you to actually learn? And number one, I said, listen, those ski pants from Walmart for $5, where I felt like I was wearing a diaper, did not really help me, like, really feel good about myself. Not only it was difficult, I actually felt like not comfortable. So that was number one. And number two, I wanted a professional ski instructor who knew what he was doing. No offense to my husband. My husband was able to teach many, many other people, actually, throughout his life. It's just that I was not athletic at all. And so my fears is something that he could not relate to. So for my 21st birthday, he bought me this beautiful red suit. It is in the book. I actually did put a picture of that. I told a little bit of that story. And so I felt great. Now, I tried to persuade him to let me just keep the suit and wear the suit without learning how to ski, but that didn't fly. So I had this amazing outfit. He did also give me a group lesson. We could not afford private lessons, just a group lesson. The nice thing about it was that nobody showed up, so I ended up having a private lesson with a ski instructor that didn't just have the empathy, he also had the skills. And he understood all of my fears, and I was not shy to tell him about my fears. And so we just took it so slow. And it was a few lessons. I took a few more after that. It was a few lessons before I got, to ski, actually take the chairlift. And that's okay. You can actually slow it down. And for some people, it's important to slow down. And we spent time on magic carpet, and nobody pushed me. Nobody told me how it should be. It was just until I felt comfortable to take on that next step. I wasn't forced, and so that was extremely important. But to wrap it up, so not only try to understand people's fears and the thinking behind the resistance, whether it's fear or whatever that may be, try to get to the bottom of it. One of the techniques that is absolutely my favorite is planting seeds. You plant a seed. There's a story with a friend of mine who tried to persuade me to get a Botox shot, and she offered for my 35th birthday, and of course I resisted, and I said no, thank you. I didn't think I had a problem. If I don't see a problem, why would I agree to do something? And so it was interesting. So what happened then was she planted that seed, and I said no. But I would go and I would actually look in the mirror from that moment on. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but all of a sudden I was starting to slowly pay attention, maybe to a wrinkle here, a wrinkle there. And then on the 36th birthday, she offered to give it to me again, out of the goodness of her heart. And the thing is, I wasn't ready, and I didn't see it as a problem. This is, right, what's in it for me? That's what people need to understand when you try to persuade them. What's in it for me? People are very selfish for the most part. That's what we are. And if a person doesn't see the benefit for them, it's much easier for them to just say no, thank you. So, but guess what? I think it was my 40th or so where I called her up myself, and I said, you know what? Why don't we experiment? So we don't have the luxury of like 5 years and planting seeds, especially in the corporate world. But it's a very, very good technique. Have a conversation. Listen, this might help you, and you just say it, and then give the people the opportunity to actually think about it and process it a little bit, because pushing when people are not ready, not understanding their fears, is what causes actually the lack of persuasion, I guess, not successful persuasions. That's it. That's all I got for you today. Happy to answer any questions in the comments. Thanks for watching.